මේ ක්‍රියාවන් හතර කරන්න equal responsibility එකක් තියෙනවා. They say board it is necessary to have the helicopter vision. Helicopter vision on these board processors. It is recommended to have helicopter vision on these board processors. Helicopter vision. What is helicopter vision? Helicopter එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ. helicopter එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා? board එකට මේ role සම්බන්ධයෙන් helicopter vision එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Overlook, that is one answer. So you can elaborate on helicopter vision. So if you sit on a helicopter, it is likely, I have not sat on a helicopter, but on the common sense we can understand if it is on the ground level. Helicopter එකක් බිම තියෙනකොට ඒක ඉහළ අහසට යන්න කලින් ground level එකේ තියෙනකොට bird eye view, yes, that is also correct. If it is in the ground level, a helicopter, you can see every detail of the ground. You can see all the grasses and everything, the flowers, small stones and everything in detail. I would say microvision. Micro level එකෙන් අපිට හැමදේම in detail පේනවා. When you sat on an helicopter in the ground level. But up you go, when the horizons change, helicopter ke what happened? The level of abstraction is different. අපිට පේන ප්‍රමාණය abstraction එක ටික ටික වෙනස් වෙනවා. අර in detail පෙනිච්ච ඒවා in detail පේන්නේ නැහැ දැන්. You can see earlier you saw grasses, but now you will see trees. You will see cars, you will see buildings, but not people inside. ඉස්සලා මිනිස්සු දකින්නේ නැති ඔයගොල්ලෝ. ඒ වගේ in detail that. Now you are seeing a macro vision in like units තියෙන විදිහට gas buildings ඒ වගේ අර ලොකු unit එක micro level එකෙන් අපි දකින්නේ නැහැ. When you go up, when the horizons change and the level of abstraction change. So that is the recommended view for board of directors on all these activities. The main හැම activity එකක් තුළම ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියනවා helicopter view එක ගන්න. Strategy formulation එක වේවා, policy making එක වේවා, it has to be on helicopter vision. You should be able to see things in micro level and also you should be able to see things in macro level. Helicopter එක යට තියෙන in detail දකින්න තරමටම helicopter එකක් උඩට ගියාම දකින්න macro level vision එකත් board එකට තියෙන්න ඕන. Both the visions are equally important. The challenge is now board will be having different sort of questions. Now say strategy formulation, then strategy එකක් හදන්න ඕන. එතකොට ඒ strategy එක හදනකොට challenge එක තමයි මොන view එකද අපි මේකට ගන්න. macro level view එකක්ද micro level view එකද මේ strategy එකට ඕන. So that is what is more challenging. ඕනම වෙලාවක macro view එකකුයි micro view එකකුයි ගන්න එක අමාරු නෑ. නමුත් හරි ප්‍රශ්නේදී හරි vision එක ගැනීමයි board එකට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ. මොකක් හරි decision making එකකදී board has to direct and control. So when they are directing and control, they should be wiseful enough. They should be, clever enough to have the required vision. Micro level එකකින් ප්‍රශ්නයක් විසඳන්න ඕනිද decision එක ගන්න ඕනිද macro decision එකක්ද ගන්න ඕනි කියන එක board එක තීරණය කරන්න ඕනේ. That is a challenge. Macro level එකකින් විසඳන්න ඕන එකකට micro level එකකින් decision එක ගත්තොත් it's a waste of time. If it's a decision that has to be looking at in a micro level decision එකකට macro level decision එකක් දුන්නොත් then it's not a good decision. Likewise, having a helicopter vision is recommended, but it is very challenging to decide the appropriate level of abstraction, appropriate level of to look at on a particular problem, the required level of exposure is a challenge. But if we have a good set of board with the required knowledge and the experience, it's not at all a challenge. අපි board එක ගන්නකොට shareholders තෝර ගන්නවා board එක. ඒතර මේ board එකට ඒ තියෙන expertise එක, experience එක, knowledge එක තියෙනවා නම් මේක ඇත්තටම challenge එකක් නෙමෙයි. Is that clear to you all? Yes. Now you see, now broadly there are 4 roles that the board has to do: strategy formulation, policy making, supervision, and accountability. If I ask you this question, how should board spend the time? On what activity should the board spend the time? Strategies. Yes, the answer is strategies. Typically that board has to be future focus. That's why they are called directors. අපි ඒගොල්ලෝ directors ලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ direction එක දෙන්න ඕනේ හින්දානේ. To make the policies, you have to have strategies in place. So mostly it is expected by the directors to focus on future making strategies. And once the strategies are there, policies can make. If you do not have the strategies, you can't make the policies. That's the most important role, strategy making. Strategy making, policy making comes after that. That's the answer. That's how they should. But if I change my question like this, now it is should, no? How should? This is harinang when known strategy making. How should? But if it is changed, how do? That is, ඇත්තට මේගොල්ලෝ කොතනද මොන role එකේද මොන activity එකේද කාලය ගත කරන්නේ? ගොඩක් practice එකෙන් ගත්තා. In theory, they should spend on strategy. But in practice, how do they spend their time? On which role do you think? According to you, what you have heard, what you have experienced, or maybe if you are doing internship, you have come across, how do the board spend? Exactly. I have already get 2 answers: supervising. Why? You have a lot of problems. Every day board has to have problems of employee, problems of marketing, financing, and everything, plans, budgets, problems. Every day they have problems. So actually what the board is spending is time on supervising. But how they actually spend their time? Strategy. Even in the universities. Now, even for university, you have to have all these roles, no? Strategy ka kam. Api tina university ke tina corporate plan, strategic plan, department ke tina strategic plan, department ke members like kutwela strategic plan එකක් හදලා ඒ plan එකේ activities වලට policies හදලා ඒවා වෙනවද මේක company එකක් ඇතුලේ නොවුනට department එක ඇතුලේ ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ university එක ඇතුලේ මේ roles හතර එහෙමම වෙනවා. නමුත් දැන් ඇත්තටම think about the department, we do not have time to make strategies. ඔක්කොටම එකතු වෙලා plan එකක් හදන්න කාලේ නැහැ. Why? We have all these supervising activities. We have to teach the students, do the evaluations, do the markings, and everything. So that is same for a company as well. Company complaints, employee complaints, there are struggles, financing problems, supervision part is there. For strategy making, we do not have time. Even in the universities, we arrange a 1-day workshop and go for as strategic planning workshops. අපේ department එකෙත් එහෙම තමයි. අපි වෙනමම දවසක් වෙන් කරගෙන outside එකට ගිහිල්ලා හරි inside of the university හරි strategic plan කියලා වෙනම workshop එකක්. එදාට තමයි strategic plan එක හදාන්නේ. That is true for a company as well. Companies වලත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අනන්තවත් දැකලා තියෙන workshops තියෙනවා. They go somewhere for a hotel out, you know, go out and do a workshop on strategic formulation. That's how the reality is changed. But it should not be the case. You have to have adequate time on strategy formulation, because directors are called directors because they have to provide the direction. To provide the direction, they have to formulate strategies. Clear on that? So there is another important observation that this was actually explained by a scholar called Friedrich Hilmer. On his article, he has put down an article, Friedrich Hilmer, where he has presented another box on this quadrant, on this matrix, that is this approve and work with and through the CEO. This axis, this box you can see. So what is meant here is, now all these 4 roles are the roles of board of directors. But it is very difficult for a board to do all of this. Strategies, hadala policies, hadala ek monitor karala, accountability, everything. Say there are only 5 board members. It's in a large corporation. Board members la kila board එකට 100ක් විතර නෑ ළම කොච්චර ලොකු කම්පැනි එකක් වුණත් board members ලා උපරිම 10ක් 7ක් 8ක් ඉඳී. ඒතර ඒ 7 8 දෙනාට ලොකු මේ හැමෝදේම කරන්න බෑනේ. We cannot expect them to do all of this alone. Then what is the solution and what is really happening rather? They have dedicated their work to the CEO. They have to work with and through the CEO. ගොඩක් දකින්නවනේ. ගොඩක් board meetings වල, even though CEO is not a board member, he is invited. ගොඩක් meetings වල ලංකාවේ CEO can be invited anytime. He does not have a voting power or decision making power, but he can be invited because he knows the ground levels of the company. So it is said, board cannot do all of these things alone. It can be delegated to the CEO. Board has to work with the management. Management එක අමතක කරන්න බෑනේ අපිට board එක උනාම. So who is the head of management? That is CEO. So you have to work with and through the CEO. So idea of this box in the middle of this matrix is that delegation happen in different gravities. In the sense, if I animate this box like this, now you see this box here, it is very small, or that box can be very big even. Very small, or it can be very big. The small box means a little amount of work is delegated to the CEO. Small box is CEO, the little amount of work is delegated to the CEO, meaning board is putting a lot of effort. ගොඩක් effort එක අරගෙන තියෙන company board එක. Delegate වෙලා තියෙන්නේ පොඩ්ඩයි. That's the meaning of small box. A little amount of work is dedicated to the CEO. That is, board is putting a lot of effort. So the big box means a lot of delegation is there. A lot of work is done by the CEO. The board is putting less effort. Board එකට තියෙන්නේ අඩු ප්‍රමාණයක්. ගොඩක් වැඩ කරන්නේ CEO. So that delegation is there. Any company you will see, all of these things are not done solely by board. Board එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම delegate කරනවා. That delegation can happen depending on the company's nature. So this box is introduced to explain that. It can be a delegation can be a very little, a small box, or delegation can be very big, a big box. That is, a lot of work is done by, with and through the CEO. Is everyone clear on that? Okay. So having understand to with that, now we know what the board roles are and how it is being delegated, on what gravities it can be delegated. Now we'll move on to these two words, conformance and performance. Now these two aspects of corporate governance can be seen in these quadrants. On this matrix, you can see performance and conformance. Can you tell me what activities are performance, what activities are conformance? We know corporate governance is all about performance and conformance. Performance, conformance. If you say performance, that is direction. Conformance means control. So we can divide these four roles onto that. As you have clearly told, performance, performing, strategy formulation, policy making, all these are performance. Or rather, we can say this is direction. Corporate governance is how the company is directed and controlled. Directed කියලා කියන්නේ මේ performance කියන එක. Strategy formulation and policy making. Direction. Strategy formulation and policy making. And direction and control, that is conformance. Conformance, accountability and supervision. අපි direct කරලා control කරනවා. අපි හදපු set objectives and goals meet වෙලා තියෙනවද නැත්ද? Conformance, compliance තියෙනවා. Performance and conformance. So you see, the definition of corporate governance simply how the companies are being directed and controlled. So directed, we can divide that as two activities: strategy formulation, policy making, or rather we can say that is the performance part. And control, that is through accountability and supervision, or we can bracket it as conformance, performance and conformance aspect of corporate governance. Are you all clear with these aspects of performance and control, performance and conformance, or in simple words, direction and control? So if there is a question asking what are the conformance aspect of corporate governance is, that is, the meaning of that is about conformance aspect of corporate governance කියන්නේ මොනවද? How the company is being controlled by accountability and supervision. And if you are asked to explain the performance aspect of corporate governance, means how the company is being directed, how they formulate strategy, how the policy making is done. Performance and conformance. So with that, we can move on to the next slide. Now, all of us know what is a unitary board means. All of us know what is a unitary board means. What is it about? What do you What is a unitary board? According to your understanding, what is a unitary board? Only one board. There is only one governing board. So with that, there are, in unitary boards, there are basically 4 types of unitary boards. You will learn 4 types of unitary boards depending on the nature of the company. Unitary boards, unitary board එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා දාන්න අපි. එක governing body එකක් විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. Shareholders appoint board of directors. So on that setup, there are 4 different types of unitary boards. So in your assignments also, you have to clearly understand whether that particular company is a unitary board or 2-tier board. I will explain what the 2-tier board is. If it is a unitary board, among these 4 boards that I will teach you now, what is the board structure that the company is having? Unitary board එක boards වර්ග 4ක් තියෙනවා basically. ඒ boards වර්ග 4ෙන් ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ company ඉන්නේ මොන board එකද කියන එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට identify කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන. Clear? So this board, you see, unitary board. There's only one board here, one circle and the triangle. It says it's a all executive director board. You see, you don't see any directors outside the triangle. The triangle එකෙන් outside කිසිම director කෙනෙක් නැහැ. Everyone is inside this triangle. So they are all executive directors. All executive. හැමෝම executive directors. So what is meaning of that? If it is all executive directors, what's the meaning of that? All executive director කෙනෙක් නම් ඉන්නේ ඔක්කොම executive directors නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ මොන වගේ අයද? If they are inside that triangle, all are in management. Every one of them are involved in management activities. That is, every one of them are top managers. Every one of them are top managers. All executive company, all executive directors. There are no outside directors. So these particular group structure can be seen mostly in family firms and startup companies. Family firms, පවුලේ තියෙන companies වල ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති නෑනේ දැන් අපි පවුලේ කට්ටිය එකතු වෙලා පවුලේ අම්මා තාත්තා ළමයි ටික එකතු වෙලා business එකක් දානවා නම් they don't like to invite outsiders. They are the directors and they are the management. Okay, all executive. Why they have gone for a public company? අයියගොල්ලෝ public private company එකක් විදිහට limited company එකක් විදිහට අපි මේව කරන්නේ family company එකක්. We learned that. Why do family companies convert themselves to private companies? ඒගොල්ලෝගේ outside directors ලා ඇත්තෙත් නැත්තම් ඒගොල්ලෝගේ family එකේම කට්ටිය නම් ඉන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝම management එක කරනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලෝම නම් directors ලා. Yes, because of the limited liability, they have converted it to private company. So this particular group structure can be seen mostly in family firms and startups. So there are no distinction between the directors and the managers. Directors are the managers. They are involved in company functional activities. So they are the one who do the directions and they are the one who do the controlling and they are the one who are running the business. Management එකයි board එකයි separate වෙලා නැහැ. Those who direct the company and those who run the company are the same. All executive directors. There's no distinction. Moving forward, this company. What do you think about that? What is the difference between the first board structure and the second board structure? What is the difference between the first board structure and the second board structure? MC834. Yes. First case, you don't have non-executive directors. On the second diagram, you will see non-executive directors as well. See, these are those who are in the triangle are executive. Those are outside the triangle are non-executive directors. But you will see mostly executives. There are little amount of non-executive directors. It's a shift from this stage to this. All executive in the stage move in. Take it majority executive. There are less number of non-executives. So this type of group structure, we know it as majority executive director groups. There are non-executives, but majority is executive. So what is the need of these non-executives? A company එකක් මේ වගේ structure එකට යන්න. So earlier case it was mostly the family companies. But why do say family companies introduce one or two non-executive directors to their business? What do you think? Maintain transparency, yes, that is one way, but mostly because to have unbiased decisions, yes, mostly because typically a family company, when they are expanding, now family companies expand, when they expand, they are likely to introduce few non-executive directors, typically to get their expertise, their perspectives, their aspects, or their know-how, their professional knowledge. Company එකක් non-executive directors ලා එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නෙක් introduce කිරීමෙන් ගොඩක්ම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලොන්ගෙන් ඒ expertise knowledge එක, එයාලගේ perspective එක, ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ aspects, ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ knowledge expertise එක, professionalism එක, ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ gun when they are moving to new markets, when they expand. You cannot expect a lot of transparency, a lot of independency when you have few number of non-executives. The majority executives, so executives have the power here. Non-executives la පහක් විතර ඉන්න තැන non-executives දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නකොට we cannot expect them to have a lot of say on the board. ගොන්න ලොකු දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැහැනේ. Their power is with the executives because they are majority. So the expectation of introducing themselves is to get that additional experience, their know-how, new technology to solve complex issues and the like. But the considerable power is with the executive board. So this type of board we call as executive boards. Executive board එකක් කියලා තමයි මේ වගේ ඒවට කියන්නේ. They have non-executives are there, but majority is executive. So we can also call this type of board as executive boards. Okay, then the next structure. What is this? What is the difference of this from the second board? More non-executive directors. Yes. You see from here to here, it has more non-executive directors. So here, since more of them are outside, non-executive directors they are outside directors. They are not involved in company activities. So it is said in a company structure like this, it is more likely that companies would be impacted by outside culture. You know, many companies' activities would be uh, impacted by the outside professionals. Like it would be a it would impact the culture of the inside company. Inside of the company will have different culture. When you have a lot of outsiders governing the body, your practices and the culture would be impacted. Are you getting what I am said? Now, governing body එකේ ගොඩක් ඉන්නේ එළියෙන් එන මිනිස්සුන් නම් අර ඇතුලේ අපි හදාගත්ත කල්චර් එකට ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. Culture and the practices would be a little bit different than what is practiced by the executive directors. And dominate කරන්නේ executive directors ලා නම් it's their company, they have their own culture. But in a company like this, it would be lot of impact would be there from the outsiders. And since they have the majority is there, their power would be a little somewhat high. Power would be somewhat high. But there are advantages in this particular group structure as well. The reason is, now there are board has a dual role, that is conformance role and performance role. So when you have a majority of non-executive directors, this conformance and performance roles are very easy. Why do you think so? We have executives and non-executives. So the duality of the board roles is easy. What is the reason? What do you think it is? Conformance and performance කියන මේ role දෙක කරන්න හරි ලේසි මෙන්න මේ වගේ group structure එකක් තියෙනකොට. Exactly. Non-executives can do conformance roles and executives can do performance roles. Performance in the sense, executive directors can focus more on policy making, strategy formulation, whereas non-executives can help them on their policy making and strategy making. ඒගොල්ලන් වෙන කෙලින්ම අයින් කරනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ. We have equal responsibilities, but more weight is policy making and strategy making වලට initiation එක ගන්න පුළුවන් executive directors, because they know the company, it is their company, they know the ground levels, they know the resources that they have. So performance role can be mostly more weight can be taken by executive directors in terms of strategy making and policy making. So non-executives can do the conformance roles, because that is where the independence is much needed. Conformance role එකටනේ independence කියන එක ගොඩක් ඕනේ. supervise කරන්න accountability එකට තමයි අපිට independence එක ගොඩක් ඕනේ. So we can get non-executive directors can have more weight on conformance aspect and have an overlook or objectively look at the work of performance role done by the executive directors. It align with helicopter view, exactly. Like people, those who are at the executive position can look inside the company more in micro level. What people who are from outside, non-executives, can have a broader view. You can also take it like that, any different forms. The idea is duality of the board aspects is easy in a structure like this. So when you have a lot of non-executive directors, we can call this type of boards as professional boards. These are professional boards. Why? Outside professionals. අපි මේ non-executives ලා ගෙන්නන්නේ outsiders ලා. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි අංශයකින් ඉස්සරහටම ගියපු අය. දැන් for example Dhammika Perera. Likewise, those people who have a good knowledge, who have a say, or who are directors of some other company. එක industries වලින්, technology industry එකෙන්, manufacturing industry එකෙන්, එක industries වලින් එන professionals. So ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි මෙතන වැඩි. So we can call these type of companies as structures as professional boards. Whereas the second board, it was a executive board. This board is a professional board. So the last type of unitary board is this. What is this? As the picture clearly says, it's all non-executive directors. It is all non-executive directors. So we also call these type of director board as stakeholder boards. Stakeholder boards. So that's a good question. When it is a family business, having lot of non-executives? No. In a family business, I'm not talking concentrating to a family business. මේ family business එකකට concentrate කරලා නෙමෙයි මේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ board structures උගන්වන්නේ. පළවෙනි all executive board structure එකක් typically දකින්න පුළුවන් family private companies වල. ඒක තව expand වෙනකොට දැන් අපි මුලින්ම ගන්නේ මේ ලොකු companies වලට වඩා මුලින්ම පොඩි company එකක ඉඳන් startup වගේ ඒවායි තමයි එහෙම තියෙන්නේ. Companies expand වෙන්න වෙන්න තමයි මේ ඊළඟට යන board levels වලට යන්නේ. Second board level එක එහෙම එකක්. expand වෙනකොට non executives ලා invite කරන්න පුළුවන්. Third level එක ඊට වඩා ලොකු expansion එකක් තියෙන එකක්. So this is not the lesson is not focused upon family business. It's a private company. මේවා දකින්න පුළුවන් තැන් තමයි මම කිව්වේ. පළවෙනි එක typically දකින්න පුළුවන් family business එකක. Third one, professional boards you can see mostly in today's company. අද ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් assignment එක කරනකොට පෙනිය ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් දකි මේ වගේ ඒවා. මේ companies. මේ group structure එකේ තියෙන ඒවා. Majority non executive. And one point I want to highlight is I forgot to tell this majority non-executive boards is highly recommended when CEO and chairman is the same person. CEO and chairman. CEO and chairman. CEO chairman උයි එකම මිනිස්සෙක් නම් හොල් කරන්න. දැන් corporate governance වලින් අපි කියනවානේ ඒ දෙක දෙන්නෙක්ට දෙන්න කියලා. CEO and chairman has to be separated. But still there are companies that role is not separated. ඒ වගේ companies වලට මෙන්න මේ majority non-executive කියන එක recommended. Why? If CEO and chairman is same person, then direction and control හරි විදිහට කරන්න බෑ. ඒ වගේ board එකකට non-executive directors ලා වැඩිපුර ඉන්නවා නම් you can maintain the independence. Understand? CEO chairman අපි කියන්නේ දෙන්නෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් practically companies තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ එක්කෙනයි. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවට majority non-executive board එකක් තිබීම තමයි recommend කරන්නේ. Because then you can maintain the independence. So I'm quickly moving to the next, all non-executive directors. So this is also called as stakeholder boards. Stakeholder boards means now we have mostly the outside parties, invited parties. Make executive board එකක් ඇත්තෙම නැහැ. පිටින් එන අය තමයි ගොඩක් ඉන්නේ voluntary basis. So most of these board structures you can see in non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations වල ගොඩක් ඉන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ board එකක්. ඔයගේ එක එක voluntary කට්ටිය professionals එකතු වෙලා තමයි මේ වගේ board එකක් run කරන්නේ. Companies run කරන්නේ. Hospitals වල එහෙම එක එක doctors ලා supplier medical suppliers ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ එකතු වෙලා තමයි board එක run කරන්නේ. Mostly in non-profit organizations. The board is comprised of interest parties. ඒ කියන වැඩේට interested parties. Voluntary parties තමයි මේ board එකේ ඉන්නේ. This is called stakeholder boards. Okay, so this does not mean that now all of these are non-executives, no? So in a meeting, they typically call the CEO or the managing director. දැන් මේ වගේ company එක ඇත්තටම company එක ගැන දන්න කෙනෙක් නැන්නේ. No one knows about the company. Everyone is outsiders. ඇත්තටම ground level situation එක අපි කවුරුත් දන්නේ නැහැ. කවුරුත් company එක වැඩ කරන්නේ වෙනම කට්ටියක් තමයි govern කරන්නේ. So it's very contrasting thing, no? Someone outsiders are making all the decision and someone else is doing the groundwork. අපිට ඇත්තටම හරි decision එකක් ගන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So typically what these type of companies do is they invite the CEO of the company or the managing director to the meeting. මේ වගේ companies වල ගොඩක් practice එක තමයි ඔක්කොම non executives ලා නම් meeting එකක CEO නැත්නම් managing director invite කරනවා. It's an invitation. එයාට decisions දෙන්න බෑ, එයාට voting power එකක් නැහැ. But he is there to share the information. එයාව ගෙන්නන්නේ මේ decision making වලට facilitate කරන්න. Because he knows about the company more. What are the difficulties? What are the resources? He is there to provide the information. But he does not have any power of making decisions. He is there to answer the questions of the non-executive directors. He is there to answer the questions of the non-executive directors. Are you all understand? Is it clear to you all? Now, all of these are unitary boards. Different types of board structures. Is it clear? Quickly. Okay. Then, now it's a unitary board. Now we can talk about the two-tier board. Two-tier board. What is a two-tier board means? Who you think this circle represents? Who you think this circle represents? Who you think the first circle comprised of? Who you think the second circle comprised of? Circles දෙකක් තියෙනවා, governing bodies දෙකක් තියෙනවා. පළවෙනි governing body එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්නේ මොන වගේ directors ලාද? දෙවෙනි governing body එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්නේ මොන වගේ directors? What type of directors in the first circle and the second circle? Typically. Exactly. This first one we'll mostly see non-executive directors. Second one, it's executive directors. Why? They are inside the triangle as well. They are inside the triangle. That is management board. Executive directors who are involved with the management. These are non-executive directors who are doing the supervision part. NED. Non-executive. These are executive directors. Why executive? They are inside the triangle, inside the management. They have functions to operate outside of the board responsibilities. Non-executive directors, they are for supervisory board. So you see the dual board role is clearly separated. Duality is clearly maintained. We know board has a duality of roles. One is the conformance role and the performance role, or direction and control. So if it is one tier, one board has to do both the roles. board එකයි ඒ board එකට conformance උත් තියෙනවා performance උත් තියෙනවා බලන්න. Two tier, two different boards. Conformance is done by non-executives, performance is done by executives. That is, duality of the board is clearly separated. Clearly separated. So executives or the management board can provide all these performance like strategies, policies and everything, and supervisory board can approve it. No, conformance board can approve it. That's how it works. Management board do all the performance part. Strategy formulation, policy making, procedures, goals, everything. It is monitored by the supervisory board. Supervision, control, accountability, everything. Clear on that? So why do you think what type of board is appropriate in terms of good governance? Governance හොඳට තියන් යන්නේ නම් one tier board එකක්ද හොඳ two tier board එකක්ද හොඳ? To practice good governance, which board structure is most suitable? Two tier board, because it's avoid the conflicts of conformance and performance. Exactly. So I will quickly rush through these next slides. Nothing difficult to understand. There are different governance structures. So this is the US governance structure, the typical structure that you see that we discussed. අපි හැමදාම කතා කරන normal governance structure එක where stockholders appoint the board and board appoint the executive director. So there is only one board. Stockholders appoint board, board appoint executives, executives report the board, and board report the stockholders. So normal board structure that we talk about, only one board. On that one board, we have different committees. These parts we will discuss later when we go on. Maybe committees මොනවද ඒව හැදෙන්නේ ඇයි ඒව අපි පස්සේ කතා කරමු. Board එක තියෙනවා, board එකේ committees තියෙනවා. Thing to understand at this point is there is only one board. Next, Japanese governance structure. Are there one board or two board? Do they have one board or two board? They have two boards. One is board of directors. The other one is board of auditors. Board of directors and board of auditors. But in the normal two-tier board, that was the Germany model. The normal two-tier boards, two boards, board of directors and board of management. But in Japan, you have still two boards, but board of directors and board of auditors. Are you clear on that? අපි two-tier board එකක් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන්නේ boards දෙකක් ඉන්නවා, board of directors and board of management. නමුත් Japanese system එකේ boards දෙකක් තියෙනවා, but ඉන්නේ board of directors and board of auditors. Board of auditors. So if you compare this with the US structure, US governance structure from this to this, US governance structure, one board, Here you have two boards, board of directors, board of auditors. Another difference is, you see, on the board we have executive and general directors. See, executive directors and general directors. Down you have employees. But in the US structure, what was the case? You have the board, executives were down the line, not inside the board. But in Japanese system, executive directors or CEO is also inside the board. Here CEO was outside. Here board is here, CEO is outside. But in Japanese structure, CEO is also inside. That's the main difference. So I will repeat the differences again. One difference is Japanese system has two boards, board of directors and board of auditors. Another difference is, compared to the US structure, CEO is inside the board of directors. CEO is inside the board of directors. So you see, in Japan, board of director boards are very high, very large. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ company එක board එකක් සෑහෙන ලොකුයි. US and අපේ country එකේ වුණත් board එකක්ම ලොකු නිකන් 10ක් 15ක් 20ක් විතර සෙනඟ නැහැ. නමුත් Japanese countries වල ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ board එක ඇතුලේ සෑහෙන ලොකු පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ board of directors වලට අමතරව executive general management එකත් ඉන්න හින්දා. They have general management as well inside the company. So in Sri Lankan governance structure, so this is the legal model. This is what the law says. Stakeholder appoint board, board appoint CEO and employees. A US structure. US structure එකම තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් expect කරන්නේ. We expect the US structure. But this is what is practiced. Board of director and CEO is inside. Board of companies එක තමයි වෙන්නේ. In most of the companies, CEO and many other management is inside the company. This is how the practice is. But this is the expectation. මේක තමයි හරි විදිහ. නමුත් ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් companies වල මේක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. CEO ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම board of directors ලා ඇතුළේ. board එක ඇතුළේ. So our is influenced by both US and Japanese structures. අපේ board එක ඇතුලේ Japanese features උත් තියෙනවා, US features උත් තියෙනවා. I think you can understand it looking at the graph. So next few slides, it's easy to understand why we need governance, align the interest of managers and shareholders, nothing to explain, that you already know. Prevent managers from pursuing own interest, same as the first case. අපි අපේ management එකේ interest එක නැතුව common interest එකට align කරන්නයි governance කියන එක තියෙන්නේ. Prevent high and excessive executive pay. board එකට අනවශ්‍ය විදිහට payment, remuneration කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. We have remuneration committees. That is why the remuneration committees are there. board එකේ remuneration එක shareholders approve කරන්න ඕනේ. Shareholders should approve the remuneration of the shareholders. That is set by corporate governance code. ඒ code එකෙන් කියලා තියෙනවා. excessive share pay එකක් දෙන්න බෑ. Overcome agency cost, avoid abuse of power. Whose power? board. board එකට අපි delegate කරලා තියෙන power එක. ඒක abuse කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ corporate governance වලින්. Avoid abuse of power. So all of these points I have discussed then and there. So it's easy to understand. Now, basis of power is with the shareholders, but the shareholder delegate the power to board. Board එක abuse කරන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න තමයි අපි governance කියන එක ගන්න. Then importance of corporate governance. Why we need corporate governance? Improve company performance, high firm valuation and share performance. If the company is having good governance, then people like it. Then people buy more share from it. Then high share value. Reduce risk, better access to external finance. If you have good governance practices, you can take loans easily. Banks would be willing to give you loans at reasonable prices. And lower cost of capital, because when you can get low cost funding, your cost of capital is very low. Those are the benefits. So these two slides you can understand by reading yourselves. So any more thing that you, so that's the end of the lesson. I had to rush a little bit last few slides because we have to stop, finish this.